engineering an upset for Ole Miss tonight. What's it going to take here on the farm?
It's going to take a lot. And you talk about later on in the tournament, what is important? It's rebounding. You have to win the battle of the boards. I don't care if it's boring stat. You got to win it. 3 players or more, got to score 12, including number 15 right there, Angel Baker. And Ole Miss has to be flexible. If one type of defense isn't working, you've got to go to the next.
SEC versus Pac-12 for a chance to go to the Sweet 16. Opening tap controlled by the Rebels. Their Navy uniform, Stanford in the home whites. Angel Baker, elbow J, and there it is.
That was something they clearly identified today in shoot-around. Stanford did. They don't want to give up that mid-range shot. Angel Baker getting right to that elbow.
Tara Vanderveer told Brooke and I multiple times today as Baker picks up her first personal. We are in for a rude awakening tonight with the way that Ole Miss defends. And the question is, how quickly can we respond and find a way to react in a positive way? Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Capital One. Rebels leading Stanford 2-0 right out of the gate. Jones, Lapolo, jump. Cameron Brink and Jones both first-team All-Americans. To help lead the charge for the Cardinal. And the starting 5 for Ole Miss also presented by Capital One. Davis Baker, first-team All-SEC. Maya Taylor, Kaya Singleton, and Maddie Scott inside. Be charged with having to defend Cameron Brink.
Maddie Scott, as does everyone on this team, they have to be able to play physical without fouling, because Stanford is not going to back up, and that's an early walk.
Tara Vanderveer, we said the phrase rude awakening. The way that Ole Miss defends, she said, we don't see a lot of this in the Pac-12, but we're ready for it based off our schedule and who we did see out of conference.
I would say the all-time winningest women's basketball coach knows a thing or two about styles, and what she does well is pick up tendencies from players in games, and that's the tendency for Ole Miss is to find those elbows. So Stanford has to eliminate that part of the game tonight. And I also love the fact that she said, hey, we can't be California cool out here. We can only wish to be California cool.
We got to be gritty. That's what she said.
Gritty.
Ole Miss is gritty. We got to match that. Jones inside, off glass. She snuck that one in there. She's
so strong and fluid to her game. I think she's so creative and bouncy. You know, teams have been daring her to shoot from the outside, and she just finds a way to get a good shot off no matter what.
Contested jumper by Davis. No, Jones the rebound. How about the atmosphere here in Maples tonight? It's solid.
Feeling it.
And that pass out of bounds, looking for Iriafen. Goes back to the Rebels.
Yeah, what you want to do is go over to Hannah jump and then get it inside.
Coach Yo, year number 5, back-to-back appearances now in the NCAA tournament. Their motto, we defend, and that's what they do better than just about anybody left in this NCAA tournament.
And she had a serious talk with her team around the SEC tournament and said, you know, we can't be a team wearing we defend shirts when we foul. So that's a part of the game. And going into the Sweet 16, that's just at utmost importance to defend without fouling.
Yolette McPhee McEwen, year 5. Methodical rise through the coaching ranks. Stripped away and an offensive foul called on Haley Jones.
This, to me, warrants an offensive foul. I think it was great defense from Taylor. Let's look again. I don't know, because again, the official was behind who made the call, and perhaps she thought Jones extended her arm, but she didn't when you look at it from that angle.
Scott off the bounce, bottled up. Here's Davis, the spin, rejected by break. Jump outside to Lapolo. Offensive touch for Brink off glass.
I love the way that she gets into position. Watch her footwork. I mean, this is a young lady who, you know, had to be basically beg her to play basketball. And here she is, All-American and an unlimited skill set. Now starting to work on her outside shot.
You mentioned the non-COVID illness that kept her out of the opening round win against Sacred Heart. Pass deflected out of bounds. It'll stay on this end. Coach Vanderveer told us she didn't do much all this past week in terms of practice, Brooke.
Yeah, it's rest, it's getting the fluids in and just trying to get back to get energy and be able to do things like this. I mean, that's just eyeing the ball real time. And then this position, she makes it look easy.
Well, she's taking points away on one end, scoring on the other. Really not having played the game in about a week.
Not a bad recovery so far.
Shot clock under 10. Baker to Scott, back to Angel Baker. First team All-SEC. Saw it late, didn't matter. 6-4 Ole Miss.
And Tara Vanderveer wants to know, and she felt like that was a shot clock violation. You can see her point right over to the scores table.
LaPolo with a pass and a layup.
She's one of those key players. You know, you look at the roster, and LaPolo, just a freshman, into a big spot.
Scott connects inside. High-level hoops early.
Yeah, Maddie Scott's been dialed in. You know, she has a high level that she wants herself to attain, and so when she's not there, she feels that. She's so hard on herself. Though to see her shine, especially in the postseason, has been great.
Haley Jones, back iron. Here's Scott in transition. Baker for three. Count it!
Oh, it's serious face, Baker. We don't have stank face. You got to work into the stank face of this game? What do you think?
She looks pretty serious to me.
That's right. I don't know if it's getting stinky. I think 10 to 15 points, then you get a little stinky.
Ole Miss was all business today at shoot-around. We certainly can tell you that. Brink was bumped by Scott, and that's a foul.
Ole Miss taking the transition game and working with it. Stanford's going to have to stop the ball earlier than that, and you got to get some help over there on Angel Baker. Transition defense has got to be a key for Stanford.
Brink checks out. Tara Vanderveer was not clear with us really on any level as far as how much Cameron Brink would be able to play this evening. They're really going to have to see how she feels.
And she was, you know, quick to say, you don't want to come out and expend all your energy in the first 5 minutes of the game. You have to be able to temper it, knowing how important Brink is. Save that energy, see if you can get some of the other players. Believe he did a great job the other night. Her start got a double-double.
Shot clock at 5. Jones operating inside and connecting.
I swear, if you just give her the most difficult shot on the floor, she'll probably make it.
She glides.
Oh,
makes it look easy.
She does glide.
Baker, short, cleaned up and put back in by Singleton. 13-8. First meeting since 1990. That encounter also in the NCAA tournament right here at Maples. Halfway through the first quarter, LaPolo. Lauren Betts checking in for the first time. 51 in white for Stanford, the former #1 player in the country. Singleton the spin, strong move, couldn't finish. It'll stay with Ole Miss when we come back.
Angel Baker with 7 points early on in this game, 3 of 5 shooting, hunting for her shot. Baker's got to get it done. They love the two-man game. Ole Miss so good at it. Baker good at this.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Stanford Cardinal 3-time national champions, including just 2 years ago in 2021. The common denominator, the coach, Tara Vanderveer, her 37th season leading the Cardinal program, and we've had so many great conversations getting to know her on a deeper level over the course of the past week. And listen, she's one of the greatest of all times, the GOAT, and next year, the win total is going to confirm that notion for anybody that is questioning it.
It's just incredible, and the time that she spent just talking with us and telling us about how she prepares during the season, as Believy sends one back and picks up the turnover. That's the first one of the game for Ole Miss. Great defense by Believy, but just how much time Coach Vanderveer spent with us, telling us, hey, this is what I do during season. Out of the season, I don't even think about basketball. But during the season, I love to see plays like this. Believy was so big defensively the other night. You know, I thought she was one of the big difference makers of the game. Long reach, incredibly strong hands, and the finesse. That's what you get with Haley Jones.
Jones has 6. One possession game, under 4 to go in our first quarter. Snuta Collins checking in. She was 4 of 6 from downtown in the win against Gonzaga. Won't get the bounce on her first attempt tonight. Here's India Navarre in transition. Offensive foul. Collins drew the charge. And you're shaking your head profusely, yes.
Yes, because you could just tell it was coming. She was there for 40 days. You have to be able to pull up and just take the jump shot. This is one of the tweaks I would like to see a lot in the game. In the women's game specifically, is Brink now back in the game, so we'll see Stanford be able to really go inside and then shore up the paint. A lot of players just want to drive right into contact and try to go for that and one. No, just pull up. Pull up.
Collins defended by Hannah Jung. Shot clock at 10. Taylor off the screen. Thompson for 3. Unexpected offense from the corner.
I gotta tell you, that was the best possession so far for Ole Miss. Look how much the ball moved and did not hit the floor. Inside to out. Terrific unselfish play for Ole Miss, who is 100% from 2, or 3, I should say.
Thompson, the swat out of bounds. Ole Miss with its largest lead thanks to this 3.
Coming off the high ball screen, it's not there. You move without the ball. You don't waste time, maybe 3-4 dribbles. Okay, you kick it cross court for an open 3. That's a great look.
Bakwe checks in. Defending Betts. Jump from downtown, and that's a good sign for Stanford.
And Coach O with her hands on her hips, I think upset because somebody went under the screen. And you do not do that with a player like Hannah Jung.
Thompson, no. Betts the rebound. Boy, Jones wanted to go full length of the court with a pass, and then thought better of it. How about this start tonight?
Yeah, and you got your big lineup in right now with Betts and Brink in there, and Stanford can just trade in size for size. Another offensive foul. That one I didn't see, was very obvious. Watch here, Ole Miss defensively. When a player comes over and sets the screen, watch Haley Jones, right? Now you got to be able to fight and go over top of that. Instead, Singleton waits too long. Like, you have to get under and push your way through. That's where the physical part of Ole Miss basketball and defense has to come out.
Last foul was on Cameron Brink. That's a traveling violation on Maddie Scott. There have been 3 offensive fouls called already in this game, 8 minutes in.
Yeah, well, both coaches acknowledged this game was going to come down to one. Also, one of the things, which is how it's called. Every coach is thinking about that this time of year. But with contrasting styles, it depends, right? Ole Miss is that more physical team. Stanford finesse. So who can really sell those calls more? Honestly, if you're a player, it's up to you. You got to sell it.
Brink wanted the foul, didn't get the whistle.
That was good defense.
Straight up. The rebound. 90 seconds remaining in an entertaining, fast-paced first quarter. Taylor. Scott.
See, when it comes down to the end of the game and rebounds matter, you're not going to be able to get ahead of Betts. You want her in the game late when you need a big board.
One of the tallest players in Stanford history. In and out for Jones. Bakwe has it for Ole Miss. Can Collins break free? How about a spin move?
Oh,
yes.
Okay. She kind of took her time on that move, didn't she?
What'd you say the other night?
That's another one. But she can't make it. Not till she starts hitting threes.
She was 4 of 6 from downtown against Gonzaga. The irony there is Gonzaga was the top 3-point shooting team in the country. Just 1 of 16 from distance. Rebels put the clamps on.
Good box out by Singleton. Saves it barely on the line.
5-point lead. Shot clock is off. You can feel the sense of urgency in this arena already.
Oh, man. Stanford read that screen really well.
Collins wants it, takes it, rejected. 10 minutes could be in the books here in Stanford. Let's see if they want to review that sequence. Michael Murray, Charles Gonzalez, Ryan Garland. Cole Murray over there at the scorer's table. We'll have a look ourselves.
Oh, a whole second. You got time to.
The ball didn't touch out of bounds though until it was closer to.
After reviewing the play, we decided that there are 0.4 seconds remaining on the clock when the ball was out of bounds.
I was going to say 0.3, but 0.4 also works.
Oh, well, good thing you have some of the tallest players in the whole country to throw up a tip out of bounds for you. I would highly expect that to be the play, and the only possible play really well, wait a minute, is it Ole Miss ball? Was that ball not out on Cameron Brink, excuse me.
Rebels will have possession here.
Okay. So again, just a tip.
Not enough time to get that shot off. 5-point lead for the visitors from Oxford, Mississippi. The chance to go to the Sweet 16, just the third time this year the Cardinals have trailed after 10 minutes.
I'll tell you what, Ole Miss has started this game in an aggressive mode, which is exactly what you have to do. A little finesse from Snutter Collins doesn't hurt as well.
Well, Daisy and Moon McPhee are back on the farm once again. The coaching legend himself, Mr. Moon McPhee, father of Ole Miss, head coach Yolette McPhee McEwen, just turned 77 years young last week and continues to show up to support his daughter. Daisy does as well. Coaching veteran of more than 50 years down in the Bahamas, and it was a great scene shortly after the first round win against Gonzaga. All hugs, all smiles. Great to see Coach O. She remains close, obviously, with her family. And we mentioned the birthday, now 77 as of last week. Brooke, he's worked with some of the all-time greats in terms of coaching. He coached down in AAU in the Bahamas for the last 5 decades, but he mentioned names today like the great Lou Carnesecca, late John Thompson, and Jerry Tarkanian. Knew all those coaches, worked camps with him, and it's one of the reasons that Coach O wanted to get into coaching.
You have to tell the story, though, about when she was 10 years old and he brought her down from the bench to say,
I want you to coach this team. It was 14 and 15-year-old boys. And she said, are you serious? He said, absolutely I am. And immediately she turned to one of the stars and said, you need to go over here and do this. You need to defend this way. And guess what?
Go, Coach O, go, Coach O, go.
He did it.
Yeah.
And it all started back then.
And meanwhile, Stanford got Brink the ball inside in great position. And I would say go right back to her. (21-15). Foul was called. Believy will head to the free throw line. Don't forget, for the third straight year, every NCAA Women's Basketball Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. And that title game on April 2nd on ABC, which I know always gets us excited. Yes, absolutely. Try to make our way over to Dallas after a stop in Houston on a slam dunk and three-point contest.
First free throw of the game. Believy at 54% on the season. The foul was called on Davis, her first. Do you want to see anything different out of Stanford in dealing with Ole Miss's pressure?
I think they're handling the pressure okay. It's you know, working through some of those first, hey, what are we dealing with nerves? And now they're settling into their game. I think they're responding just fine.
Believy, the block, and the steal.
What I do want to see offensively, though, from Stanford is, yeah, just keep trying to find her. Keep trying to find her. Every possession, just look. She's a threat, no matter if you get her the ball or not. She draws that much attention. Second
foul on Maddie Scott. Probably going to have to take a breather the rest of this half, maybe.
Yeah, that is a big call. Snutter Collins is going to come in.
It's interesting, too, because we've seen different defensive sets against Brink. They have fronted her with Angel Baker and also several other guards.
Yeah.
Just trying to make things uncomfortable. And that was a word we heard a lot today at shoot around. No comfort. No comfort. It's like a scene out of a Rocky sequence. Back iron for Baker. Rebound claimed by Singleton. I mean, Coach O was screaming those words time after time as they worked against Stanford's offensive sets. No comfort.
No, and we talked about rebounding being a key to this game. As Baker, another mid-range, the pull-up, just a little look. Just a reminder, got to get closer than that. 7 offensive rebounds for Ole Miss, just 1 for Stanford. But Ole Miss hasn't converted much.
Emanopu from 15. Meanwhile, Angel Baker has 9 points for Ole Miss. Under 8 to go in the first half. Too strong for Davis. And a jump ball, the arrow will keep it on this end.
Yeah, okay. Okay, the game within the game. Here we go. Baker and Cameron Brink getting tired up. Let's take a look at this jump shot now. You got to be a little bit closer to her. Force her to put the ball on the floor. Get physical. Right back. Don't use that much space because Baker loves that rhythm pull-up. Now she's in better position.
Those 11 points to Seaview in that first round win against Gonzaga. Did a lot more than that. It goes back to Stanford here.
Yeah, Stanford is learning that they can't be the nice girls from California. And that was what Tara Vanderbilt told us. This team has got to have the edge, find that toughness. Ole Miss is doing a good job of pushing those buttons, though. They're revealing it 1 layer at a time.
Backdoor cut to jump. Lost it out of bounds. Well, Hannah Jump's production, I think, central tonight for Stanford. Remember, she was shut out against UCLA in the semifinals of the Pac-12 tournament. She's knocking down threes. Stanford becomes a different team. When she's not, same thing can be said.
Yeah, when you play her physical, when you try to frustrate her early and make her miss early shots, you're putting yourself in a better opportunity for her to have a long night.
That was me being the analyst for 2 seconds.
There you go.
Bokwe goes to work.
Good defense.
Brink.
Oh, again.
And again. 3 blocks on 1 possession.
Woo.
Listen to this crowd.
Woo. I got your physicality right here. Brink is so skilled. I love her in the college game, and I just cannot wait to see her in the WNBA. The size, the length, she got that edge. It's there. Ole Miss just brought it out.
Cardinal with 6 blocks already. Brink had 3 alone on that possession. Jones wide open. 8 points on the board for 30 and White. And a timeout called by Ole Miss.
Now, Ole Miss still has a 3-point lead, so as hype as this crowd is, they're gonna need more of this. I love this from Cameron Brink. 3 blocks in 1 game. She said, I wasn't sick, I got this.
Ha! 1600 block. I just wanna rock. I just wanna I just wanna rock. Body yada yada. Shorty got that body yada yada.
This is a huge, wonderful sport memory, but it's going to be a lifetime memory too.
The emotions of March Madness, sensational here tonight. Welcome back to Stanford. News and notes from what we've seen so far. We're going to have 8 teams to punch their ticket to the Sweet 16 after tonight. Top 4 seeds so far have been dominant, bro.
Yes, and it was amazing watching the comebacks happen today. Ohio State, Baylor, and Miami. And you could just, or yesterday I should say, you should really and feel, every time you watch a game, it feels like a potential upset.
There's a steal. Ibanopu coast to coast. No, blocked. Swiped by Taylor. How did she do that?
I don't know. I don't know how she got back there in time.
Thompson from downtown. She missed the SEC tournament. She's back here in Stanford and a difference maker so far tonight.
And what a difference in momentum, right? Stanford takes it. You come back out, they get a steal. You think it's still going, and Ole Miss not only stops that, but they add to the lead.
Lopolo surveys for the second time. Shot clock at 8.
I think Bakwe on her really limited what she can do with the ball.
Jones blocked. Ibokwe sent it out of bounds. That's a shot clock violation. Big sequence here.
Yeah, the steal. Minoku getting out in the lane. Great read. Got to go meet the pass. So miscommunication, and then just a little quick swipe. You got to keep it out of the hands of Taylor. Ole Miss themselves tonight. Steals, deflections, and 3 blocks.
Well, Angel Baker under control, and it feels like she just has this game exactly where she wants it. Not that time with the shot at Ibokwe and a fresh 20.
But her shots look like they're in rhythm. You know, she's not forcing it.
Collins outside to Taylor, contested 3. Another offensive rebound. Collins lost it. Ibokwe slow to get back. Reaching for her mouth.
And
goes back to the Rebels in the meantime.
Coach Jones trying to understand how Snuda Collins ended up on the floor. She's having a conversation with the officials right now, wondering if she got tripped. I couldn't tell if Snuda tripped or slipped.
6-point lead for the Rebels, the 8th seed out in front of Stanford.
Coming up at halftime, Degree in the studio with Monica McNutt, Nikki Fargas, and myself, Kelsey Riggs. Angel Reese had 25 and 24. She still said she didn't play her best game. We've got the highlights from that. Meanwhile, Ole Miss up 6. Nikki, you thought they might be able to give Stanford some trouble.
I did. I think Ole Miss is a team that defensively has an identity, and then when you're knocking down shots from the perimeter, you have a chance against a very talented Stanford team.
Yeah, both of these teams are shooting the ball decently well. So far, Stanford at 50% from the field, but they're just going to have to find some more intensity to match the energy of the Rebels.
Roy and Brooke, we will see you guys at the half. We've got plenty of highlights to talk about as well.
Kelsey, thank you very much. And yeah, Tar Vanderveer thought that Ole Miss was going to give Stanford problems, as we indicated early. So I think Coach Vargas all over it. 6-point game halfway through our second quarter. Entertaining start, and maybe an upset in the works here on the farm.
Yeah, it's been all Ole Miss here in terms of setting what the tone is, and Stanford will respond, right? They're not intimidated, but they're annoyed, and that's what you can see. And I'm waiting to see Stanford really flex and go deep, get the ball into their All-Americans, Cameron Brink and Haley Jones. I think they're going to be the difference makers.
Taylor, Singleton. An excuse me shot is off the back iron. Chance to go to the Sweet 16. Last time Ole Miss was there was 2007. Stanford, 15 in a row, including a Final Four trip last year, a national championship 2 seasons ago.
I tell you what, as the ball sails out of bounds, when Ole Miss walked in this gym and said, "We packed for Seattle," something about that just resonated with me. And it's like, no, we're not accepting anything else. We are getting to Seattle, and Tar Vanderveer understanding how physical this team is. You know, you see a lot of different types of styles throughout the season, but Ole Miss is pretty unique.
Rebels have forced 10 turnovers so far. Davis, Brink came in late. Well, Brink's been physical, even in that sequence with the 3 blocks.
Yeah.
There was some contact, maybe even there, but no whistle. Lopolo. Do you feel like Stanford is rushed at all at times on offense?
I do. I think they are getting pushed out of position as well. For as big as they are, Ole Miss is pushing them off the block. Cameron Brink trying to get that pass from from Fran Levy up top, sailed over her, but because Ole Miss was physical in the back, so Brink goes up to get it, and they have to take that deep breath.
One more note, going back to Coach Yo for a minute. Before the Gonzaga game, she told us they're not going to shoot three-pointers on us. They didn't. They went 1 for 16. Before this game tonight, she said, we shoot the three, put the word out. They're 4 of 7 from downtown.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, to hold Gonzaga to 1-3 was incredible. And who would have thought Ole Miss would have made more threes than them in that game? So, you know, you got to speak something into existence for it to work. And Coach O's about that life.
You and I try that all the time. Sometimes it doesn't work, though.
Yeah. Sometimes it works against us, right?
Cardinal get it back. The NCAA Men's Basketball Championship second round continues tonight over on TBS and TNT. For more information on tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com. By the way, it's also sweltering here at Maples. It's really hot in this arena.
It's giving me AAU July vibes, and I'm not too mad about it. I got to be honest.
Brink, no. The box out, yes. Here comes Ole Miss. Still kind of feels like both teams feeling each other out, trying to figure out, okay, what is this team all about? What's this tempo? What's this defense? It's not a Collins.
Yeah.
Another block.
Brink, armored security truck. Where is that NIL deal? Where is it?
Another turnover. The blocks for Stanford. The turnovers on the other end of the court.
Incredible. Both teams over 4 minutes without a score. It's just, I mean, it's as entertaining as we're watching basket-to-basket trading. The defense stepping up. You know, both teams want to just take you out of what you want to do, and they're doing that.
India Navarre just ripped that ball away. Jump ball on the arrow. We'll keep it here.
And Navarre, another young player for this team, a McDonald's All-American. Love her game as well. I mean, if you're a freshman playing at this time of the year, you really have a sense of the game. Here, take a look. Quick hands. It always feels good when you win the jump ball as a player. It's like it's just an extra little game. Like,
Feel a little
thought
taller.
you're gonna get that? That's cute.
Not tonight.
Yeah, especially against the taller players, of course.
Ole Miss in search of an upset on the road. Thompson again. 9 off the bench, and Ole Miss has its largest lead.
Ole Miss with 5 threes in this game. They're shooting 62%. That's incredible.
Betts position.
I have to
Betts
think.
not going to miss a lot of
I was going
those.
to say, I have to think those are going to start falling consistently for Stanford. To me, you don't go away from that. Keep going inside.
Ayanna Thompson, freshman out of Texas. 3 threes off the bench in this first half. Right there, that's the difference in the score.
It is. And Thompson, you know, it's always those that you don't expect. Little touch, extra pass. It's because she moved without the basketball. It's so important when you're watching this game. Yeah, you sit there and watch the ball. I know Haley Jones has it, but everybody else, you turn around and you watch. You can move without the ball. You can do great things. And Baker, the hustle.
Jump over.
Front row.
Baker almost dropped a dime to a opposing team.
How about every shot Hannah jump shoots? It looks absolutely perfect.
43% from distance this year. 1 3 so far.
She gets even the rotation of the ball right. Before she shoots it, the ball spins perfectly. It's awesome.
2-second differential between the clocks. A first half that has surprisingly been dominated by Ole Miss. In and out for Baker. And a traveling violation. There is time on the clock.
Why, though, would the buzzer go off if there was a change of possession?
They certainly will consider another look at that sequence. A big call here at the end of the half for Ole Miss to get one more chance. Build the lead into the double-digit range.
Yeah. I mean, this is a huge possession. You obviously want this back. Let's watch this again. Angel Baker shooting as the shot clock's going off. They're winding down.
Shot clock. Now Stanford with possession, then the travel. So 0.9 seconds remain. Desperation Eve time. Oh, and it almost went. Oh, Maya Taylor from 35. And the Stanford Cardinal trailing for just the 5th time at halftime all season. 29-20 our score. Coming up at halftime, Degree in studio. Kelsey Riggs, Monica McNutt, and Coach Vargas. And welcome back to the NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One. Emotions running high on the farm in Stanford. Ole Miss stifling on defense. Cameron Brink is back. That's the good news. The bad news for Cardinal fans, trailing by 9 at the break after the lowest scoring quarter of the season for Stanford. 29-20 our scores. We welcome you back to our broadcast position. Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott. Ole Miss was also making threes in those first 20 minutes. A lot of things happening early on.
How about Coach Yo telling us today in shoot-around, we are a three-point shooting team. Let the word out. Okay, well, you're backing it up. And as we take a look at tonight's Capital One rewarding performance, it's been all about the three, the long ball for Ole Miss. You've got a couple of players who are perfect from behind the line. That's just incredible. Thompson's got 3 threes off the bench, 9 points for her. Baker with 1 and Davis with 1. They are getting all kinds of range and room. Ole Miss is. Good ball movement for them inside and out, hit mid-range shots. Well, that's going to open up the long ball for them.
Stanford, the last field goal made came almost 6.5 minutes remaining in the half. And it has been the Baker and Thompson show, the spectacular thus far. Thompson, 9 points off the bench, pacing Ole Miss to this 9-point advantage and halfway home to an upset. Cardinal have it first to open up our third quarter. Beliebe gets the start instead of Erie Offen here. We'll see if that makes a difference for head coach Tara Vanderveer. Shot clock already at 10, poked away. It'll stay on this end. The other thing I remember from shoot-around, we finished our conversation with Coach Yo. We didn't ask a lot of questions. She had a lot to say. But she walked off a few minutes later. Jones the spin. And as she left the court, she looked over in our direction. I think she winked. And she had 2 words to say. Watch this.
Okay. It's just one of those, you just kind of, you let it just sit there. And Coach O is a woman-driven and has really gotten this program back to the spotlight to where people see Ole Miss on the schedule and they're like, oh man, it's going to be a rough one.
Brink, her 5th block. That was clean. Ripped away by Davis, and another steal for the Rebels. Coast to coast. Davis has 5, the lead at 11.
Ole Miss has forced Stanford into 13 turnovers tonight. Now, Ole Miss could have up to 26 points off those turnovers, right? They only have 12. You say the same thing about offensive rebounds. 12 of those for Ole Miss, but they have not converted. Just 4 second chance points. However, they do have an 11-point lead.
Jump off the bounce. Levy gets it back in a fresh 20. That's a 3.
Wow.
Big shot for 33 in white.
And you think about how hard Stanford had to work just to get that open look at 3. But that's who you want. You want the ball in the hands of 33, Hannah Jump.
What do you make of Stanford only attempting 4 3-pointers so far?
It's not as much that, yes, but it's their transition. Like, they have not been able to get into a flow. They need transition buckets. That's where the 3-point shots come from a lot of times for them, and that's a quick foul. Maya Taylor. And is this the time we'll see a Stanford run? And Hannah Jump gets away after the shot here. gets knocked to the ground, this is how you really move without the basketball. And just a late rotation. Perhaps Ole Miss didn't see her when she was on the ground. Able to scoot back and get the open look.
All she needs is about an inch to get that shot away.
Look at Angel Baker, all up there. Doesn't want to let her get another one.
Brink against Scott.
Good no call.
Shuffle the feet.
Yeah.
You can tell she's still trying to find that rhythm after missing the last week with that illness. Didn't play in the opening win against Sacred Heart in that first round. Winner of this game punched their ticket to the Sweet 16. The irony here is Ole Miss's last trip into the Sweet 16 was the last time that Stanford didn't make the Sweet 16 back in 07. 15 straight for Stanford.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness. I almost just threw my headsets down and ran out of this building. Yes, not only do you get your shot blocked, but she's gonna be nice and that's a nice California girl, can't do that, no. I'm just kidding. What a block.
6 blocks for Cameron Brink.
Woo.
Cardinals still trail by 8.
Nice touch.
Singleton is there.
See, you draw Cameron Brink out, little jab step, you have to open up the lane. If I'm Ole Miss, I'm not going anywhere near 22 if I'm trying to shoot. Oh, she wants the ball. That was too
Stolen.
late.
Taylor. Baker, the smooth operator, will drop a dime to Maddie Scott.
The timing with Stanford's offense is a little off, right? Tara Vanderveer talks a lot about the symphony.
The crack screen got Taylor.
Oh boy.
Didn't even see it. She is in pain, grabbing her chest.
And that is a absolutely tough young woman on the floor right now. So if she's down, she must be in an awful lot of pain. Let's hope she's okay. Yeah, she took that screen big time, Roy. It was right in front of us.
Don't want to speculate. You wonder if maybe she lost her breath there, got the wind knocked out of her.
Yeah, training staff getting her to just catch her breath. And here she is popping right back up off the floor.
The play prior to the foul is under review.
Cole Murray indicating they'll take a look at that sequence. We'll step aside. In the meantime, Ole Miss has its largest lead at 12, 6:41 to go in our third quarter. Maya Taylor appears to be okay. A 12-point lead for Ole Miss. Back on the far, Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott. Our veteran officiating crew just informed us this foul, nothing is deemed upgradable, even though upon secondary glance, that should have been an offensive foul. The movement on the screen, despite the fact the hands are in the air.
Right, and upgradable, what they're looking for is excessive and unnecessary. I'd say it's almost unnecessary, but it's certainly not excessive. It's just, Fran Believe is a strong young woman. So if you run into any part of her, you're likely gonna bounce off, and Maya Taylor looks like she got caught in her chest area near her shoulder and just knocked her out for a good second there. Hope she's okay and can get back in this game. They need her back.
Meanwhile, Madison Scott, in the midst of all of that, picked up her third personal foul. Brink able to connect at the free throw line, the lead down to 10. So a lot happening in that sequence that could have gone a variety of different ways.
Oh!
Another hard screen. That time it was Jump that lost her footing. Cardinal get it back, and this game's starting to feel a little different.
Right, and it's loud in this building, but look, both teams have got to be very vocal. If my player that I'm guarding, you've got to call screens out is my point. And you've got to be loud about that because somebody can really get hurt. If you run into a big player, you're a little guard out there. And it could get drowned out sometimes by the noise, you never know.
Ashton Prechtel on the floor for the first time, gives the Cardinal more height. Brink operating, bumped, gets it back, lost the handle. It'll stay with Stanford.
And Haley Jones bringing the team together, saying, hey, everybody calm down. Brink getting frustrated, perhaps feeling like she should deserve some calls down there. And this is where you got to play through that frustration. So perhaps going from a bit annoyed to finding that edge, that's where Stanford needs to come through to get this lead. They are down 10, and they only have 25 points in the third quarter.
And you mentioned it, used the word flow. They have not had any kind of rhythm or flow on offense, thanks to plays like that where Ole Miss just disrupts.
That's what they do. They just defend, disrupt, and their whole point is to make you angry. When you're playing defense against somebody, it is a win if you start to annoy the offense, right? And make you a little bit more upset each possession, just a little something. So it's the psychology of the game.
Boakway picks up her first. Jump open for a minute. Short with a mid-range. Brink also off the mark. When she yelled running back down the court, angry that she missed that shot.
Oh, she's been very vocal. There's times I've heard her scream over here for the ball, and Stanford's been a tense late, a beat off. Coach Vanderveer talks a lot about the symphony. They are a beat or two off.
Offensive foul, and Boakway just picked up her second on the moving screen.
It's the most exciting, clunky game that we've been a part of all season.
That's just how Coach Yo wants it. Right?
Yeah, she doesn't want that symphony to sound good. She needs it all out of tune. Somebody come get this tuba down here, it's a problem.
Boakway off the floor. Ayanna Thompson back on. There's another steal. Davis, second time tonight, coast to coast, and a chance for three.
Defense to offense has been really nice tonight for Ole Miss. Another turnover, they get out in transition. Yeah, that's too tough of a pass to make. And the hard finish, I mean, that is a layup, high degree of difficulty for Davis. And she's somebody, too, that Coach Joe talked about heading into the postseason. We need Marquisha Davis to get out there and be a scorer for us.
Transfer from Arkansas, 71% at the line, and here comes Maya Taylor back on the floor for the Rebels.
This is big. You get Maya Taylor back with her defense, her ability to control and manage the game, her toughness, her experience, and maturity.
It's the third time we've said this in this quarter. Ole Miss has its largest lead. Manopu back on the floor. Prechtel checks out. Jump. Has her pocket picked by Baker. Baker kept the dribble alive. That was not easy.
No, that was some Harlem Globetrotterness right there. Two defenders and able to keep her hands on the basketball and control it. And then gives it off to Taylor. Like, that was the smart play. All night, Angel Baker has not tried to force the game at all. She letting it come to her.
Four to shoot.
Gotta do something with it. Oh yeah, you're gonna meet the brink bank right there.
You wonder, Haley Jones is thinking about takeover mode at some point.
Yeah, these two have to take over. My goodness.
And Brink will shoot two. Nothing coming easy tonight for the Cardinal, the #1 seed. 38-25. More than halfway through our third quarter. Back on the farm here in Stanford after this. Let's check out our thrilling drives from today's game, brought to you by our friends at Nissan. And Ole Miss, the defense igniting rally after rally, igniting Ole Miss to a 13-point lead.
I mean, they are frustrating Stanford into 17 turnovers tonight, and Stanford's starting to make unforced, uncharacteristic turnovers. That's how you know Ole Miss is having a huge effect mentally, not just physically, on this game. And we go back to the battle of the boards, one of the big keys of this game. Mississippi, Ole Miss, I should say, with a +3 advantage there. And then you got 3 players getting it done. And game plan flexibility, hey, Ole Miss has become, all of a sudden, a 3-point shooting team in the postseason. What was Coach Yo's quote again? How'd that go?
We are a 3-point shooting team. Y'all put the word out.
Word is out.
Brink at the line, money. She's got 7 to go along with 7 boards.
And one thing I'm seeing from Stanford's offense, just in terms of sharpness and the edge that Coach Vanderveer was saying that they have to have. Cameron Brink's out there screaming for the ball. Like, I'm seeing intensity from her face. If I'm coach, I need to see that from everybody else. Where is that same dog? You got to have that now. It's third quarter, baby. You trying to get a trip to the Sweet 16. You're a 1 seed on your floor. It's time to step up and get as tough as you can.
And again, the Cardinals have reached 15 consecutive Sweet 16s. Last time they didn't make it that far, shot clock down to 5. 2007. Gotta go. And a shot clock violation. The heave by Davis never touched the rim. For the 3rd straight year, every NCAA women's basketball championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. And we're down to, after tonight, 8 teams into the Sweet 16. 8 more will punch their ticket tomorrow, which should be another action-packed day. Could we see the first #1 seed to fall tonight?
Now, Brink is open. They got to get her the ball a little earlier. Oh, yeah. My goodness. When you just feel this crowd. How many times have we seen the ball in and out? It's going to be a block. Wow.
India Navarre guilty of her 2nd personal.
I thought Navarre might have had defensive position. It's not about the feet being set. And I believe that's the right call there.
I agree.
Yeah. Got to commit to it more. That's a good little matchup right here. Let's see if Baker is going to test Brink. She does.
Brink was bumped and fouled. When Baker for a minute had an inch, I thought that layup was going to drop.
The stank face would have come out then. Bet you. Bet you then.
Stanford now in the bonus. The final 3:05 of this quarter. That's significant considering the offense has really been a work in progress.
Yeah, you need to get the ball inside. And you may have to win this game ugly and do whatever you got to do. Brink at 83% has gotten to the line a lot this year, 174 times. So
First team All-American Cameron Brink, 2-time gold medalist with USA Basketball. Missed the last week or so due to an illness. She's given it everything she has tonight.
You know, I mean, imagine how that feels to be as high-level athlete as her and to not have been able to pick up a basketball and do this work for the last week. You would be incredibly off. So for her to have the night to even be on the floor for this long, 23 minutes, 8 rebounds, and nearly as many blocks.
Saw mom and dad there. She's perfect at the line tonight. Collins for 3. Navarre lost it. Greg and Michelle Bain-Brink watching their daughter and hoping she can find a way, and this Stanford team can find a way to rally. It has been all Ole Miss tonight. Cardinal have not led. Singleton lost it. And a chance. Haley Jones. Brink on the offensive glass. She lost the handle.
It's the layups that have been killing Stanford tonight. I mean, these are shots they typically hit as they go for the 2-man game. Good defense there by Stanford. That'll be a jump ball. Navarre getting her hands on that one.
Think about, too, what Tara Vanderveer said to us. She said it would be a rude awakening playing this team and its style of defense. And she said, this is going to test our grit. Are we gritty enough to deal with a team like this out of the Southeastern Conference?
Yeah, you got to find it in you, and this will help.
Brink and jump. Hannah jump for three. Brink with a putback. The farm comes to life. And a timeout called by Coach Yo.
Cameron Brink has had to work extremely hard just to get the ball, let alone put up 9 shot attempts. Here she's leading the break, a no-look assist, nearly, and then gets up and gets the board, not once, twice, through 4 players, and hits the shot.
6-0 run for Stanford. That sequence for Brink gives her a double-double in her first game back, 12 points and 10 boards.
Oh, and she's 2 blocks away from a triple-double. Is that what we're saying? Out for a week time, you're sick, and you are 2 blocks away from a triple-double. Oh my goodness. Yeah, All-American, I'd say so.
She scored the last 8 in a row for the Cardinal.
She's got the edge. Haley Jones is about to have it too. I saw her shaking her head after that last missed layup. Watch what she does now with Brink out of the game.
Off the bounce, Davis! And a chance for 3.
How about Coach Yo calling the timeout, designing a play, and getting her team with an and-one opportunity.
The screen was there. Davis, an athletic finish. The senior out of Arkansas has been rock solid tonight. 10 points so far, right at her season average. Missed the free throw. Jones with a sense of urgency.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Told y'all, I told y'all, here she comes.
May have gotten away with a push-off. Basket counts, the lead down to 7. Collins, no! That's the block. Collins gets it back. Davis scraps for the rebound.
Coach Joe calling for the high ball screen.
There it is. Taylor appears to be okay. The shot clock down to 2. In and out. Here comes the All-American.
Oh, she's got her eyes on the rim. This is money. Yep.
Blocking foul call. Free throws coming.
Well, Haley Jones, you knew she was going to get right to the rim, right? Feeling the mismatch. And Ole Miss huddling underneath the basket, trying to figure out what just happened. Haley Jones backing down, backing down. No, that's inside the charge circle.
I thought this last one beforehand, there was a clear push-off.
No, that's not enough for me. Not at this point in the game. You can't call an offensive foul on that. No way.
Lead at 7, now at 6. Ole Miss is led by as many as 13 points. Rebels get it back. Stanford in the midst of a 9-2 run to get back in this.
You just saw a change in mentality and energy shift with Haley Jones. And so now you're seeing her. Now you see the edge come out. She's going right to the rim. And Coach Joe trying to fight for her team to keep them alive. Think about how hard they worked for this lead, this moment.
She's ready to play defense.
Isn't she? She's ready to take that charge. I'll show y'all how it's done. And she wants this offense to keep moving. A little frustration and uncertainty now for Ole Miss offense.
The crossover, Davis. Shot clock at 5. Taylor finds a way. How did she do that?
I truly don't know, but she was the one to look at her teammates and kind of give them that, let's go. Kept moving without the ball, and that's how she got that shot.
Her first points of the ball game. Shot clock is off. Big possession for the Cardinal. Haley Jones. Foul. The whistle came in late. Jones will shoot 2. That's a big call.
Yeah, it
At
is.
the end of the third.
Yeah, and Coach O just. We're going to review the
standing on the
time
sideline
and when the
trying to
foul
catch her
occurred.
breath and start to campaign and understand what just happened. Haley Jones, terrific job at drawing the contact.
See if she got this shot off in time.
Yeah, got bumped. Yeah, that's a tough call. And Maya Taylor knows that
After
there was some
review, the
contact there, so
foul
that was the
occurred
right
at
call.
.9. That will be put on the clock.
Taylor.
And that's her
just
fourth.
picked up her fourth.
Ugh.
One more for Jones. 72% at the line this season. 2 for 3 tonight. And one more makes it a 2-possession game. 10 minutes to go. Lead at 7. It was once at 13. Plenty of drama yet to unfold here in Maples. And a spot in the Sweet 16 on the line. Number 1 has some work to do. Back in Stanford, California, more drama than a junior high lunch table and emotions running high for both sides, and a number 1 seed on the verge. 10 minutes to rally. Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott. The lead is 7. And we haven't seen this all that often. Number 1 seeds to lose before the Sweet 16. Just a handful going back to 1994.
Yeah, this is a huge game, and you know, we heard just how physical and fast you were going to see with an Ole Miss team, and they have proven to be that, right? I mean, this is a real team. Even Coach Vanderveer felt like they weren't seeded high enough. 8-seed Ole Miss team, and I think we thought the same thing, looking at them coming out of the bracket, like, whoa, they have a great chance.
Haley Jones gets a touch and a finish. 14 for Haley Jones, the All-American. Maddie Scott back on the floor with 3 fouls, bumps, and Jones picks up the personal.
Good to see Maddie Scott back in this game. You know, just 12 minutes, and she had those 3 fouls, so she's an important part of this player. She's somebody who I thought had to have those 12 or more points. Good to see her back. Next stop, Seattle. The winner of this game gets the winner of Texas and Louisville coming up on Friday. Iowa has already punched its ticket, the lower half of the bracket, and a tough win against Georgia earlier today. I see you looking at me.
You had Georgia.
I did.
Game, did you?
I did.
It was competitive.
Well, really, Georgia, the turnovers late is what killed them. You know, had they had a chance to even just shoot and get a shot attempt off, but great job by Iowa. They move on. I mean, you talk about an electric crowd. We have one here tonight. Iowa is that as well.
Brink couldn't find position. Stolen by Taylor. Brink gets it back. It's getting physical. Free throws coming for Cameron Brink. So Singleton picks up her first foul.
Ole Miss almost gets another turnover to add to the 17 they've already forced tonight. And a broken play ends up, and this is what Cameron Brink is doing. Like, she's going out just making basketball plays when Stanford needs them, and that's what's helped get them back in this game.
How about perfect at the line tonight
That
as well?
helps.
6 for 6, a double-double. All the blocks. Rattles home another. Well, you wonder, too, will Stanford have enough gas left in the tank for one more run to grab that lead for the first time? It's taking every bit of effort to get back in the game to this point.
I just love the fact that Ole Miss has not shown to be any bit intimidated here. They know what a tough schedule is like. You play the SEC, it's a rough environment. So I think they were really looking forward to the trip out west to prove themselves against the #1 seed.
After the quick three by Thompson, Cardinal get it back. Brink back to work. One possession game.
Snutter had the shot.
Scott lost it. Here comes Haley Jones with the spin.
I think Jones could have just taken up on the right side, made that shot a little too hard. And Baker smartly pulls it out, see what she wants.
Scott to Baker. On Brink. Got her on the arm. Haley Jones just picked up her third. Baker back to the line.
I mean, that's a smart play to try to draw. If you got a mismatch it, bring Cameron Brink out. Do everything you can, and she'll take a quick breather. Try to open up that paint, because there are few, if any, players who can stay in front of Angel Baker when she's got the ball in her hand. That quick crossover, quick elevation.
Well, she talked about this trip out west earlier this week, and she said it's a business trip.
Yeah.
We made the tournament last year. That was great. Coach Yo told us we didn't really know what to expect. That was our first trip. This year they knew. So far here in Stanford, they're playing like it.
And now the press, just to try to disrupt. You know, we talked about game plan flexibility, so extending that pressure, guard ball pressure was a big point for Coach Yo.
Screen for jump, bounce pass is low. Pass is completed somehow to Navarre. And Belibi made something out of nothing.
Now Belibi really saved that play. I mean, she is such a hustle player. Talk about tips and deflections, just big time defensive plays at times. Belibi can be that for you.
Well, you can't say enough about Brink. The job she's done tonight, coming back from illness. We've mentioned it several times, but you just wonder, how is she feeling returning after not playing basketball, the game that she loves, the last 7 days?
Yeah, you've got to be out of rhythm. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
And she's already produced a double-double and 6 blocks. And Tara Vanderveer just trying to buy a little bit more time to save it for that final stretch. Brooke, I'm no doctor, but I don't believe she feels 1,000%.
You see she's getting food in her right now, eating a pouch, trying to get some nutrients.
Shot clock at 10. Haley Jones. Another spin. Off the mark. Scott controls the rebound for Ole Miss. And a foul call.
Great job by Maddie Scott.
Belibi will put Scott at the line to shoot 2. Now don't forget SportsCenter coming up later tonight. As soon as we're done here at Stanford, John Anderson and Zubin Mehenti. Welcome in Monica McNutt to the show. She'll give you insight into today's NCAA tournament action. Plus, LaVonzo Ellis breaks down the men's Sweet 16. Cowboys got better wide receiver today. SportsCenter right here on the ESPN, also on the ESPN app. One more coming for Scott, and Cameron Brink set to check back in as well.
And the look that Haley Jones had a few minutes ago when I said she's dialed in, that same look is on Maddie Scott's face right now. She knows the pressure, and there's 7 minutes and 9 seconds left to be the #1 seed to get to Seattle. And Haley Jones is going to try to get at that rim every time.
Jones, no. Belibi the rebound. saved by Scott and a foul called on the Cardinal.
And Believe is down and grimacing. She's got a brace on her left shoulder. She took contact on the way down. Well, this game has been so unbelievably physical. There's this collision over here right in front of the Stanford bench. Yep, that's when she bumped into her shoulder there.
We've seen so many hits underneath the basket, diving out of bounds like what we just witnessed right there. Microcosm of what this game has turned into. Trip to the Sweet 16 on the line. Scott on Jones. Baker. Brink another rebound. That'll be her 12th.
Now are they going to go inside immediately to Brink? She's going to work for position, but you don't want to have to expend too much energy if you're Stanford.
Great cut by Jones. Hand off to Brink. How many shots have we seen tonight that have fallen just short of point blank range?
Well, that's, you know, again, you're out a week. You're going to feel out of shape. I mean, there's no way around it. You just bounce right back. Also, Ole Miss has bodied up Stanford Brink all night. And think about all that wear and tear that they've been putting on her. She's already trying to come back. I'd be extra exhausted.
Baker on the polo, the step back. Oh! Baker with 13. And the lead back to 8. Navarre, the rebound controlled by Maddie Scott, and that felt like a big sequence.
It did. And again, Angel Baker just going to slow things down, as is Coach Yo. Probably work off those high ball screens. They love that action up there at the elbow.
Shot clock down to 5. Baker sees it. And not enough time. She needed about 1 second more.
That pass almost there for Ole Miss. They were trying to get that, but you have to have, say, a bit more sense of urgency. As you see the shot clock going to 12, 11. Now you've got to start to go. And really both possessions kind of negate each other after the turnovers.
Cardinal got it down to a 1-possession game. Haven't scored since the 8:40 mark. That'll change with Cameron Brink. "18 points, 12 boards, 6 blocks for Brink. Big shot here for Baker. In and out. And a foul. Navarre was tripped up and appears to be okay. (49-43). Cardinal basketball when we come back.
Everybody take a deep breath. 4 minutes, 22 seconds to decide this one. Angel Baker trying to make the dream happen for Ole Miss. 13 points for her. Still perfect from behind the three-point line. And Cameron Brink, the All-American, doing that thing off the left side.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Quick stroll down memory lane. The last 4 national champions going back to the Fighting Irish, Baylor, Stanford. Of course, just 2 years ago. And South Carolina trying to repeat in 2023. Dawn Staley's Gamecocks on the verge, and Stanford, well, they punched their ticket to the regional semis. Going all the way back to 2007, that's at stake, and that active streak certainly in jeopardy at this late hour. Trailing by 6 at home to upstart Ole Miss. Brooke Weisbrod, Lloyd Philpott. The scene at Maples has been sensational. The visitors out of the SEC have been the story so far. Navarre lost her footing. And a jump ball gives it back to Ole Miss.
Well, the Rebels have forced the Cardinal to one of their last 7. So their defense starting to ratchet up here again late in the 4th quarter. And that was just an unforced turnover, but hey, they'll take it. Now, can they convert? Only 8 points off turnovers for Stanford. Meanwhile, Ole Miss has got 19 of those and out-rebounded Stanford by 5.
In and out for Davis. She'll track it down.
She's been such a key tonight, hasn't she? Her hustle has been unbelievable.
10 points, 3 rebounds from Marquisha Davis. That only tells part of the story. Maddie Scott. Brink the rebound. And Lopolo was fouled by Baker. Ole Miss already in the bonus, and the next foul committed by the Rebels will put Stanford at the line. Ole Miss as an 8 seed. Rebels have not trailed on the road here at Stanford tonight. And this would be the kind of upset that would send shockwaves around the country.
No doubt. You see this guard ball pressure as Jump gets by it with the running left-handed. Left-hander, wow, usually she's shooting threes. I was just about to say that that guard ball pressure for Ole Miss has been also a big key for them, eliminating them getting a clean look into Cameron Brink tonight.
The lead down to 4. Under 3 minutes to go.
Got to be Baker's shot, right?
Angel Baker. Taylor grabs the rebound. The advantage for Ole Miss on the boards. An undersized team compared to the Cardinal. Shocking, 42-36. An air ball and a shot clock violation.
I think I just read the lips of Angel Baker walking down the floor and said something about this is crazy. And I can only imagine what their emotions must feel like out here on the floor. 4-point lead, you're so close that what you don't want to do if you're Ole Miss is beat yourself, right? Don't take your foot off that gas. Stay aggressive. Haley Jones gonna try to find that back to the basket. This is her strength.
There's the spin again, and the finish. One possession game. Shot clock at 5. Davis blocked by Brink. 2 to shoot.
Ole Miss waited a long time to start this possession, and then it had to come down to one ball screen and shot. Brink comes over. This is the time she's trying to send that message.
Rebels got to go quickly. Baker, no.
Off of Maddie Scott.
Basketball.
Yeah, that ball was off of Maddie Scott, it looked like.
Less than 90 seconds to go. Cardinal can tie or take the lead for the first time with a 3. Davis fell down. And Brink fell down as well. That's a foul. Ibakwe. That's her 4th.
Let's go take another look at this one. See exactly what happened. Brink trying to get position, get in position. I'm sorry, I don't see the foul. I don't see it.
Brink hit the deck.
The previous play is under review.
We'll take another look ourselves. It certainly was a physical play.
Yeah, physical. I don't know know what warranted a foul there, so we'll definitely need to take another look and perhaps have the officials explain it. It looked like both were just involved in a basketball play trying to get inside position. Now, it looked like the forearms of the back way perhaps is where
After
we're going to see
review,
it.
the
Look at that
common
left
foul
forearm. Here's a
stands.
better look. Top of your screen. Maybe left forearm and a hold. Perhaps that's where they found the contact.
Cameron Brink to the line. No upgrade on the foul. And a chance for the Cardinal to tie this game. Mom and Dad looking on, the pressure of this moment magnified. She has not missed at the line tonight. 9 for 9. And it's about to really get loud if this goes down. Tied for the first time since it was 6-6. Baker wants it. Angel Baker, the step back. No! Ibokwe, no! Haley Jones has it! And a timeout called by Tara Vanderveer.
Well, she wanted to know if they could withstand the Ole Miss punch. And she was going to find out what this team was made of. You can't ask better for this if you're a women's basketball fan. It's tie game, 40.9 seconds to go. Now, neither team can foul. You say no fouls to give, but you got plenty of timeouts, so you don't have to panic. You get caught in the corner, double team, call a timeout, save the possession.
Baker really didn't have great balance on that shot. Ibokwe had an opportunity. And then Haley Jones, magnificent to be able to keep that ball in bounds. Offensively, you have to think Brink gets a touch and they go inside out.
Have to. I think you get a nice high ball screen. Perhaps she could slip, or if she gets good position early. But what you want is a good, safe entry bounce pass, right? You want to make sure she gets that catch so she can work with it. And if you're Ole Miss, maybe you want to think about trying to double on that catch. Guard ball pressure has to be big, right? Big wide stance, get low, just like Coach O was talking about today. Get a deflection. And key too, also the possession error. If it's a tie up, you see on your bottom right screen, it's gonna go to Stanford.
Cardinal have outscored Ole Miss 14-7 in this fourth quarter. Now have a chance to take their first lead of the game. They'll adjust the clock. Timer now reads 43 seconds. Tara Vanderveer said this would be a rude awakening playing a team like Ole Miss. And the way the Rebels defend, it has been that and then some. Dicey pass between Lopolo and Jones. And a timeout call by Stanford. Cameron Brink has been the story in this comeback. 20 points, 13 boards, and more blocks than we can count on one hand.
And to start this game, you saw Ole Miss impose their will on Cameron Brink. She has not had an easy look all night, has had to work for it. And not only that, has been out for nearly a week being sick, and comes in tonight scoring 20 points, perfect 10 of 10 from the line, 13 rebounds, all the defense inside the paint. It's been the All-Americans, Brink and Jones, getting it done for Stanford. And a lot of rebounds as well for the rest of the team. We knew that was going to be a key to this game.
7 blocks, 2 steals for Brink. 11 seconds, more importantly, to shoot for the Cardinal in a tie game.
Yeah, and again, I think a good time out there, get resettled. And Haley Jones was not able to get the entry pass that she wanted at the top of the key. Let's see what they do on the side out of bounds.
Jump has it in the corner, defended by Baker. And turns it over. Madison Scott stole it, and a foul was called. Jones just picked up her fourth.
That was a tough place for Hannah Jump to catch the ball. Remember, I said they had timeouts to take. Perhaps that would have been a good one to take right there in the corner. A great defense, though, by Ole Miss. And that's their calling card.
At the line with a chance to give the Rebels the lead back. Two free throws coming, 3 of 4 tonight, 66% on the season. Clutch on a stone-cold look walking away from the line. Rebels by 2. And a timeout will be called by Tara Vanderveer. 23 seconds to go. Brooke Dimitri was getting set to check in. Winner of this game gets the winner between Louisville and Texas in the Sweet 16 in Seattle on Friday. Caitlin Clark and Iowa, the 2 seed, have already punched their ticket into that Sweet 16.
And you think even down 2, Stanford has not taken a lot of threes tonight. So is that the shot that they go for here? They average 20 a game attempts, and tonight just 2 of 6. So Hannah Jump is the player typically that's going to launch that for you. Now, if they can get a quick score inside, I think still you can get the break. If she's got the position, get the ball to her. That's your priority number 1.
Seconds to go. What a game. Jones corrals the pass. Double team. Haley Jones in trouble. Lost the handle. Rebels get it.
They're going to review it.
And they'll go to take a look. .16 seconds remaining. We'll take a look ourselves. It was...
The previous out-of-bounds play is under review.
What's interesting to me is the last 2 inbounds here for Stanford, right? They've caught them nearly in the same place. Before, it was right where Jump is, 33, and this time, Haley Jones getting double-teamed. Ooh, let's see this one again. I think it goes off of the leg of Maddie Scott, I believe. Let's see. So it could, looks like the left foot perhaps of Haley Jones right there. After that.
Remember the call on the floor is Ole Miss basketball.
It is. No, I think Maddie Scott's left leg hit that. The trajectory of the ball changed after this bump, right? There.
I can't tell if that's a leg or an arm. It's a 2-point game. Jones was double teamed, lost the handle. Call on the floor was Ole Miss basketball.
They're still figuring it out. Still taking another look at it.
It's got to be indisputable to overturn the original call. Was that indisputable in your mind?
No, it's not indisputable in my mind. No way. No.
There's not enough there to overturn it.
Now from that angle, it doesn't look like it hit Maddie Scott's leg, right? Ooh, it's a tough.
There's an arm that sneaks in there at the last minute.
Wow. Definitely not, in my opinion, not enough evidence to overturn the call. Yeah, it looks like it goes clean by her left leg. but the trajectory of the ball does change right there. So I don't know if that's somebody's fingertips getting into it or what.
Well, both teams in the bonus, obviously. If it remains with the Rebels, Stanford, of course, will be forced to foul and to extend this game as long as possible.
Yeah.
And understandably, this review taking a long time, and in a situation like this, you can understand it, right?
No doubt, no doubt.
Want to make sure you get this call right. All three officials now have had their chance.
Well, imagine trying to game plan. You don't know if you're going to get the ball or not.
But you mentioned it, Stanford, those last two possessions, there was a double team near the baseline. Chaos ensued, advantage Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think Stanford, had they been able to inbound the ball up top, reset as quickly as they could, then gone inside. But Ole Miss in that guard pressure. I mean, you think when you've got post players, you have to defend the post. It's equally as important to put pressure on the guards.
Well, the weight of the basketball world on the shoulders of this officiating crew. It'll stay with Ole Miss. They're going to add.
After the review, it is blue out of bounds, and it will be 16.5 on the game clock.
Rebels keep it. They'll add half a second.
Yeah, that's the right call.
And the Rebels called a timeout. So now, put yourself in the shoes of Tara Vanderveer and Coach Yo.
Yeah. You got to go for the instant steal, right, of course, and if you don't, you got to foul. But you do have possession error, so if you can get a tie-up, you can get the ball back, which would be huge. That's what I'm going for from Stanford. Steal, tie-up. If not, you got to foul quickly.
Rebels 8 of 10 at the line tonight. Maddie Scott 5 of 6. Free throw percentages, starting 5, fairly solid. Scott at just 66 would be the one to target, but again, she's 5 of 6 tonight.
Yeah, she's locked in. I don't know if you're Stanford if you want to foul Maddie Scott right now. Even though by the numbers, I think she's feeling it.
She just made those last two to give Ole Miss this advantage. Spot in the Sweet 16 at stake. Ole Miss hasn't been there since 2007. Stanford hasn't missed a Sweet 16 since that very same year. Rebels able to advance the ball out of the timeout. And Dad feeling like this one is getting close.
And that's a coach staying at ease there. It's got to be a nervous dad, though. On the inside, I'm sure that stomach is churning.
Gladstone Moon McPhee, father of Coach Yo, turned 77 last week. Mom Daisy in the house as well. They're at most road trips for Ole Miss basketball. And a quick foul will put Davis at the line, a 71% free throw shooter, 1 of 2 tonight.
There was nearly a triple team tie-up at the corner. If I'm Stanford right there, I'm doing everything I can to wall up. And now you just hope for some missed free throws from Davis. And Davis has had such a tremendous game, though. 10 points. We mentioned Ole Miss needed balance scoring. They've got a couple in double figures here in the game right now. And Marquisha Davis hit a big 3 in this game, 1 of 2 from the line. Her contribution, though, has been big. 4 steals tonight from Marquisha Davis.
You think about the 2 that went coast to coast, a couple of strong finishes, a chance for an and one.
Big time. Big momentum plays.
Davis at the line.
Clutch.
She'll get one more. Two-possession game and a timeout. 15.4 to go. Ask you the same question on the Stanford side now. Does it have to be a 3?
I think so. If you're Stanford, I know you've only taken 6 attempts in this game. That's what you're used to. That's what you're good at. And Tara Vanderveer, the GOAT at knowing how to get wins and seeing these kind of situations come to light, right? So that's what it's about now. It's about designing what is the best shot for us to take. If that 3's not open, yeah, then maybe you look inside. Now, if I'm Ole Miss, I'm probably switching as many things as I can, only on the perimeter, though. Everything inside. You can switch big to big, maybe guard to guard, but you don't want to switch guard to big.
Stanford out of timeouts. The Rebels with 1 remaining. Possession arrow favors the Cardinal. Just 15.4 seconds to go. A fast-moving game that has slowed down tremendously in the last 5 or 6 minutes, given the magnitude of this moment and the potential for a #1 seed to be ousted in the dance. And some nervous faces. It's been a remarkable atmosphere. A loud environment, exactly what you would want for a game like this.
So watch for Hannah jump 33 to come off a high screen, perhaps get a shot from 3 on the wing. Oh!
Passes intercepted and picked off by Taylor. And the Rebels with their defense stifling tonight on the road.
My goodness, what a read by Maya Taylor. Stanford trying to go for that inbound sideline inside pass. Let's take another look and see what happened. Taylor's at the bottom of your screen. There's the screen, right? They switched, and she got the steal. Oh, my goodness.
Maya Taylor is on the wrong end of a collision off a crack screen. Not even half an hour ago. For a moment, it looked like she may not come back in the game. She's back, and she'll get 1 more free throw after that miss. 67% at the line this season. One of 2. Lead at 5, only 10 seconds to go. Polo has to hurry. Hannah jump a deep 3. Rebels have it. And a quick foul. .8 seconds to go. Stanford maintains possession. Desperation heave. That'll do it! Next stop, Seattle. Ole Miss to the Sweet 16.
Well, congratulations to Ole Miss. The Rebels did it with defense. Coach Yo had a mission. This team packed for Seattle when they left. And now they're headed there for the first time since 2007. What a performance by the Rebels. Not intimidated, ready to flex those defensive muscles. Not only were they defense, they were the 3 in these first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. A big win here over the #1.
54-49, the final score. And the Rebels will stay on the road. They'll head north, awaiting the winner of Texas and Louisville. That game tomorrow night in prime time, right here on ESPN. What a scene and what a moment. The Rebels punch their ticket. Coach Yo will dance at least for another weekend. As #1 seed Stanford goes down, emotions are high. And an unbelievable performance on the road. Victory for Ole Miss. 54-49 the final for Brooke Westbrook. I'm Roy Philpott saying good night.